Hi students, in this lesson you will learn about one of the positive impacts arising from a diverse society, specifically cultural exchange and appreciation. Now in the textbook, cultural exchange and appreciation is presented as a positive impact or an outcome of a diverse society. I am going to challenge you further by asking whether CEA can also be a strategy to address issue of discrimination. So if you look at a U shape again, you understand that the causes of a diverse society is attributed to migration, which leads to different people of different identities. Okay, thus creating a diverse society. And then after that diverse society, one of the outcomes of it is actually the ability for us to appreciate cultures and to exchange cultures. But here I am trying to explain that cultural exchange and appreciation can also be a strategy to actually fight against discrimination. Therefore, CEA can be seen both as an impact or a strategy. But first of all, I'm going to cover it as an impact. In this particular slide, as you can see, I will be using PEEL to explain how cultural exchange and appreciation is a positive impact to the society. Now, based on the P, which is the point, how CEA is a positive impact, basically one of the impacts of having a diverse society is our privilege to appreciate and even experience different cultural practices, especially during festive seasons. The examples that we can use will be national events and also at a personal level. Now for national events like National Day celebrations and even Racial Harmony Day, you will notice that there were many performances put out by different cultural groups and for you to appreciate it. Now, at a personal level, we may also experience cross-cultural interaction. Like for instance, your friend might have invited you to their weddings or your relative invited you to the weddings, which is of a different ethnic group. And so how would these examples explain that it's a positive impact? For instance, if you are talking about food, when attending special cultural events, we get to enjoy diverse cuisines. Imagine staying in a country where there's only one particular ethnic group and we always be eating the same food over and over again. So with a diverse society, you will also be able to enjoy diverse cuisine. So new flavors, new ingredients, new cooking methods, which enrich our gastronomic experiences. Now also on the other hand, when we interact with people from diverse backgrounds, it fosters empathy and tolerance. As individuals learn to appreciate and respect differences, cultural exchange helps break down stereotypes and misconceptions, promoting peace and reducing conflicts based on cultural misunderstanding. So now I'm going to use PEL to explain CEA as a strategy instead. But a strategy for what? Strategy usually we need to solve something, right? So in this case, we are going to use it as a strategy to fight discrimination or racism specifically. So I'm going to present cultural exchange and appreciation as a point in terms of using it as a strategy against racism. As written here, one of the ways in which we can fight against racism is to actively create platforms for cultural exchanges and appreciation. For instance, as per the previous slide, government can use national events like Racial Harmony Day to showcase the different ethnic performances and explain cultural practices of Singapore's diverse ethnic groups, thus educating the significance of unique cultural rituals. Now, also at a personal level, we may be invited by friends to join them for festive events like wedding or even New Year's, whether it's a Hari Raya or whether it's a Chinese New Year or even Thaipusam. So it really depends. So by learning about the cultural practices of various ethnicity during events such as Racial Harmony Day, one can better appreciate the meaning behind certain traditions. So for instance, understanding the concept of filial piety helps explain the practice of burning incense and paper monies as offerings to our ancestor. So this is actually one of the important values in Chinese culture, and some of our elderlies really believe that by burning money, even though our forefathers have passed away, we are still paying respect to them, we are still being filial towards them. Now, cultural exchange helps to break down stereotypes and misconceptions, promoting peace and reducing conflicts based on cultural misunderstanding. So you realize that I'm actually repeating the earlier point when I talk about it as an impact. So what are the drawbacks of cultural exchanges? Now, in your textbook, it talks a lot about cultural exchanges and appreciation as positive impacts. But are there any problems when you have cultural exchanges? There are, I would argue. So one of the possible negative impact is that when we do cultural exchanges without true understanding, there will be a lot of tensions. All right. So over here, I have two quotes taken from online articles based on the recent 7-month Hungry Ghost Festival practiced by some Chinese. So over here, the Singapore heat wave is already very hot. This kind of burning just adds to the heat with the most smoke rising up. Inconsiderate people think only about themselves and their convenience. I also have beliefs, but I use candles with more prayers and chanting instead of heavy burning of incense paper that pollutes the entire block. Now, oftentimes, if you notice, with misunderstanding, people tend to say that this group of people are selfish, they don't think about others. But if you truly understand the significance of burning hell notes, they are actually not selfish at all because they are thinking about their ancestors. They are thinking about their parents who might have passed away, their grandparents who have passed away. So they just feel that it is important to continue do whatever they can for them in their afterlife. Okay, so instead of being selfish, they are actually doing the opposite. They are actually thinking of others, just that it is the others who have passed away. Now, cultural exchange sometimes cause some kind of culture to disappear because of fusion. Now, when a few cultures come together, sometimes over time, they lose their unique identity because some of the cultures mix with other cultures. So, for instance, this is an example. Maybe a nasi lemak eventually will have lobster on it. So, some of Western influence on our local traditional. So, over time, the erosion of culture or the fusion of culture might erode their traditional identities. So, as a summary, just want to highlight to you that cultural exchange and appreciation, while it has been presented as a positive impact, it can also be a negative impact. At the same time, cultural exchange and appreciation can also act as strategies to deal with racism, discrimination. So with that, that concludes today's lesson.